The First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Good afternoon and happy Friday, folks. I got to admit to you, I feel a little lonely in here today. No Lewis Turner beside me. It's like I'm missing the Batman to my Robin, my trusted sidekick, or perhaps I'm the sidekick to him. Either way, missing Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner in here today. He is soaking up some sun and enjoying the magical world of Disney down in Orlando here over the last couple of days and into this weekend. The rest of us here on the First Coast, and Jacksonville specifically, we've all just been baking in the heat pretty much all week, and that's pretty much continuing into your Friday evening here as well. So if you have outdoor plans, I'm sure it's not going to surprise you. It's probably not going to take a whole lot to break a sweat out there. Temperatures outside right now, many of us in the mid to upper 90s. Coastal areas and out towards the beaches, you're in the low 90s. So from St. Augustine up to Ponte Vedra, Mayport, 91, 92 degrees, but pretty much everyone else. I mean, we got 98 in Jacksonville, 99 up in Waycross, and as expected, those real field temperatures back up between anywhere from really about 105 upwards of 112 heat index. St. Simon's Island at 112 right now. Feels like 107 in Jacks, also in Waycross, and down in Palatka here on this Friday afternoon. So yet again, another very steamy, sultry afternoon and evening out there across the First Coast, really wherever you're at. There's not a whole lot of cloud cover out there either, so you're just kind of baking underneath that hot sun. And because of that, the National Weather Service put out this heat advisory for this afternoon and evening last night. So this is going to continue up until 7 p.m. tonight, after which I think our stretch of heat advisories or just heat alerts in general may finally be coming to an end as we head into this upcoming weekend, primarily because we got big changes on the way, right? We've talked about it over the last couple of days. This cold front that was draped across New England and the Mid-Atlantic yesterday and down into the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys. It brought severe weather and significant flooding to portions of Maryland, New Jersey, New York even. They had a lot of flood alerts up across the Northeast. That front eventually going to be working its way down toward us. Also, a big drop in temperature behind the front. Places from really central Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Chicago, Detroit. Those folks are sitting pretty. Sunshine, but temperatures only in the 70s here today. Different story down toward us. And once that front does hit us, are we going to see a little bit of a temperature drop? Yes, but it's still going to be warm. It's still going to be incredibly humid and muggy because we're expecting that front to stall just to our north on Saturday and then pretty much right over us on Sunday, keeping us right along that kind of focal point of all that low-level convergence and even the mid-level moisture as well. So we're just going to kind of be stuck in the muck through most of this upcoming weekend. But I want to show you kind of what's actually happening out there, a little bit of a surface analysis here for you on this Friday afternoon. So I've drawn the cold front. It's pretty much from Cape Hatteras and the Outer Banks straight through Columbia, South Carolina, and then over towards the Atlanta metro and over towards even Birmingham, even in central to northern Alabama. So cold front still draped to the north a bit. But extending southward from there, there is just kind of an elongated area of some lower pressure, or really just a surface trough is what we'll call it. Really just, again, another weak boundary or convergence zone. And that's why we're seeing that kind of narrow line of storms pretty much from Savannah back over through really in between Macon and Valdosta. I'm trying to think of a town over by that area, probably like Tifton, Georgia, right along I-75. So that's kind of acting as that boundary for some of those thunderstorms firing off here this afternoon. And then, of course, further off to our west, out the I-10 corridor, Tallahassee, over towards Valdosta. Much more of those showers and storms are pretty much just from the sea breezes working their way inland here. So between these two areas, I've circled for you the area that we're going to watch for some isolated showers and thunderstorms through the rest of your Friday evening. So out towards the Suwannee County, Columbia County, you have a chance to see just a few isolated showers sneak in from the west. Most of those storms, though, that are coming parallel to the I-10 corridor, right? There's much drier air in place in the mid-levels over Jacks and over most of northeast Florida. So any showers or storms that work their way along I-10, most of those are going to start to fizzle out the further east they go. So that's why I'm feeling pretty confident that we might see 1 or 2 stray showers around Jacksonville this evening. And same thing, for Baker, Clay County, down in Palatka as well, in Putnam County. But for the most part, I'm expecting pretty dry skies for Northeast Florida. Now, a little bit of a different story. The further north you go, across our Georgia county. So if you live in really Waycross, Northern Ware, Pierce, Brantley, you have a decent chance to see some of those showers and storms begin to work their way down towards you here over the next couple of hours and through the rest of this evening. Are we expecting a lot of rain? No. But just want to let you know there is a chance for at least a little bit of some, shower activity out there for your Friday night. Otherwise, closer to the metro, you can see that sea breeze very slowly working its way inland. It's been pinned right along the coast thanks to a fairly strong southwest or westerly flow here through most of the day. So it's kind of stalled that sea breeze front from trying to work its way inland and westward here. We'll watch for a few pop-up showers around that, but again, not expecting much. So you're heading out to the Jags scrimmage over at Everbank Stadium this evening between 5:30 and 8:30. Of course, players actually take the field to warm up and stretch things out at 6. But the mock game and the scrimmage itself starts at 7. Looking pretty good. Just take the sunscreen, try to stay hydrated out there. Temperature's still going to be in the low 90s, feeling like the low triple digits still across the street over at the bank tonight. But the key there, I would say maybe a 10% chance for a little shower to sneak its way in. So not good rain chances there for tonight, so you should be all right. Shouldn't have to worry about taking the poncho over to the bank this evening. You're definitely going to need the poncho or the umbrella, whatever you got to try and stay dry, both tomorrow and into Sunday. We've issued weather impact alerts for both days, thanks to the numerous to widespread rain and storms that we are expecting. So before the storms arrive tomorrow, it's going to be another very hot, humid day. Temperatures a little bit cooler, mid-90s, but heat indices in those real field temperatures still anywhere from about 105 to 108. But then as you get into the afternoon and evening hours, we're going to watch for not only the showers, but a few even strong to severe thunderstorms. So if you're looking at, okay, if I've got outdoor plans, if we're going shopping, what's my best time frame to maybe do that I don't have to worry about being caught out driving through a thunderstorm or something like that? I would say up until about 1 o'clock for most of us. I would say then after 2 for the Jacksonville area. If you live in southeast Georgia, you could probably start to see some storm activity as early as noon, but really the worst of it looks to be between about 3 and 7 p.m. tomorrow afternoon and evening. So it's kind of a broad window depending on where you happen to live. But again, this is all going to be from that front that begins to sneak its way a little bit further southward and will really be draped right across our southeast Georgia counties tomorrow afternoon and evening. So here's another way to look at who has a good chance to see some rain and storms. And as I mentioned, some of them could be on that strong to severe side. Storm Prediction Center does have our inland southeast Georgia counties in a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather, primarily just for 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. Some frequent lightning, of course, going to be associated with some of those thunderstorms. And then, of course, probably the biggest thing tomorrow and even through the whole weekend, it's going to be that chance for some locally heavy rainfall. So the Storm Prediction Center is going to be watching for a few marginally severe storms. Meanwhile, the Weather Prediction Center, another government agency, they've had this out since yesterday. We're in that level 2 out of 4 slight risk for excessive rainfall. So what does that really mean? Precipitable water values themselves are anywhere from about 2 to 2.5 inches. So if you get a slow-moving storm over you, that is dumping rain, you could see 2 to 3 inches rainfall rates or 2 to 3 inches per hour from, some of those thunderstorms. So because of that, we could see some excessive rainfall and some localized flooding going to be a concern for Saturday and even into Sunday as well. So let's give you a look at what some of the models are trying to show you. Of course, you always have to take these with a little bit of a grain of salt. These are just trying to give you an idea of what could happen, but don't necessarily take it, for fact that at 3 o'clock exactly we're going to have a shower in Jacksonville. There's always going to be some wiggle room and some leeway with it, but it gives you a good idea of the trends and patterns that we've been watching and are kind of expecting to happen and to occur throughout the day tomorrow. So 2, 3 o'clock, you can see the vast majority of the storm activity primarily up across southeast Georgia, primarily because that front's going to be right there across the Okefenokee. So wherever the front is typically at, that's where you're going to more often than not see the most shower and thunderstorm activity. It's acting as that convergence zone, gives more uplift to some of those showers and thunderstorms as well. So that's where we're going to watch probably early to middle of the afternoon for storms to first initialize and to begin to develop. And then as the afternoon wears on, you get into the evening hours, closer to dinner time. Some of those storms that do develop north of I-10 may become outflow dominant, meaning the gust front, those winds pushing out from the storm, could begin to surge southward, and models have started to pick up on that here a little bit. So by 6, 7, even 8 o'clock, you can almost see this southward surge of those storms back down towards Jacksonville, down towards the I-10 corridor, and then continuing further southward as we approach sunset tomorrow evening. So that's going to be something that we'll watch for. I think after, I would say, 9 o'clock, most of our storm activities begin to decrease for your Saturday, but then Sunday, snapping right back up for those storms yet again. So a little bit of a different timing and scenario for Sunday. The front itself is going to be pretty much draped right over the first coast, almost right over I-10. So because of that, going to have a little bit more scattered activity, or scattered to widespread activity across the entirety of the first coast. So Saturday, it's much more of a I-10 northward for best storm chances. Sunday, I think all of us have about an equal chance to see some rain and storms. They will first begin to develop out towards the Gulf Coast. Steering flow is going to be out of the west and southwest, so any storms that develop west of I-75 will work their way eastward throughout the afternoon. Some of them will collide with that sea breeze right along I-95 and our coastlines, could allow some stronger storms to develop. So again, we'll watch for that 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gust threat and the rainfall risk as well. And that will continue then through your Sunday afternoon and evening. So as we looked at the excessive rainfall risk for Saturday, here's a look at Sunday. So both days offering a very good chance to see some heavy rain. So between the 2 days, this is kind of our best estimate of, if you average it out over the whole area, how much rain could you see from some of these. So for areas further southward, you're looking more so at about a ½ inch to maybe upwards of an inch of rain for locations like Alachua County, over from Gainesville to Interlochen, Palatka, Palm Coast, and Flagler Beach. But the further north you go, so St. Augustine, Julington Creek, Green Cove Springs, you could see anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches of rain. And then pretty much think I-10 north, so including Jacksonville and most of Duval County, extending northward up into Nassau County and nearly all of our southeast Georgia counties. Most folks are going to see, it averages out to about 2 to 3 inches. There's going to be some locally, higher amounts and pockets of heavier rainfall. And then we have highlighted that one area for northern Charlton, Brantley County, Camden, and Glenn County right there along coastal southeast Georgia. You could even see upwards of 3 to 4 inches of rain over the span of the whole weekend. So does this mean, I live in Brunswick, hypothetically, if you live in Brunswick, I'm going to definitely see 3 to 4 inches. Not necessarily, but you have the best chance to see those higher or heavier rain totals here through the weekend. So kind of just giving you an overall map of a good idea of how much rain you could potentially see over the next couple of days. So here's another way to break it down and look at it for your weather impact alerts this weekend. So tomorrow morning, you're looking okay for the most part. It's going to be very muggy, humid, still another just kind of sultry day. Temperatures mid-90s, real field temperatures anywhere from 105 to 108. By Saturday afternoon and then into the evening, that's when the weather impact alert comes into effect. We'll watch for those storms to begin across southeast Georgia, looking like they'll then drop southward down towards Jacksonville, as I've kind of covered. A few stronger to severe thunderstorms are going to be possible for the gusty winds, for the frequent lightning. We've had a lot of unfortunate lightning incidences here across Florida over the last several weeks. So please take the lightning risks seriously if you do have any outdoor plans, whether you're at the beach or you're at the pool or you're just, in your backyard working or doing something like that. If you hear the lightning, please, please, please head indoors. And of course, then there's the rainfall risk and the locally or localized flooding concern, especially in some of those flood-prone areas. So San Marco, of course, going to be one of those spots we will watch to see if, we get some heavier downpours over you there for both Saturday and into Sunday. I think Sunday, the changes Could see a few isolated showers kind of off and on throughout the morning, but the majority of the thunderstorm activity will begin off to our west. It will spread inland, or I guess eastward, over towards I-95, and we can kind of just get these waves or rounds of showers and storms coming from the west to the east throughout the day on Sunday, through the afternoon and into the evening hours. So it looks like it could be a much soggier, just kind of wetter, much more saturated weekend here across the First Coast than we've seen over the past couple of days, at least for the most part. I know we saw some very, very heavy rain in a few locations around Duval County on Wednesday, but if you look at the area as a whole, most of the week has been dry for many of us. There have been some spots that have seen torrential rains, but most days it's just been very hot and very dry. That's coming to an end not only this weekend, but even as you head into next week. Much more of a pretty typical summertime pattern here. Temperature is going to be in the upper 80s, lower 90s for some of those days, and we'll have those daily chances for rain and thunderstorms each of those days. So Monday, pretty much starting off with that, a very similar trend. I will note Monday will not be 86 degrees. I must have missed on updating that. I'm thinking low 90s there for your Monday. So because of temperature still kind of hovering around or near that 90-degree mark, the humidity is still going to be very, very high. That's why we have such high rainfall rate potential over the weekend and even into next week. Those heat indices, they're not going to get below 100 for at least the next 5 to 7 days. So tomorrow will be the worst heat index. But as you still head into next week, just be mindful that you're spending any extended time outdoors. We still could see some pretty dangerous conditions with regards to those real field temperatures over the next couple of days. Now, I just want to switch things up a little bit here. I've got about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about the tropics. Things have been relatively quiet over, the last 2 weeks or so. We've had a couple of those coastal lows that we've tracked, those fronts that drop down to our south, are actually very similar to what we're going to see this weekend. Once they are pretty much draped over us and then over the Gulf Stream and the Atlantic coast, you can sometimes see storms develop from that. Some of our longer range models have shown the potential for something trying to stir up along that frontal boundary off to our east and then kind of heading up toward the Outer Banks in the Carolinas. Not all models are showing that. National Hurricane Center clearly also not highlighting anything or are concerned about that over the next 7 days. So the chance of that occurring seems slim to none here at this point. But I want to remind you, we are just on the first day of August. Of course, happy August to you. Hopefully you remember to turn the page in your calendar here earlier today. But we're the 1st of August. So generally up to this point, we don't often see a whole lot of tropical activity. We are very fastly approaching, though, that peak season. So by the middle to latter portion of August and really those first 2 weeks of September, the tropics could have remained quiet the whole summer. And all of a sudden, it just kind of ignites and conditions can become incredibly ripe and conducive for tropical development. So I just want to make sure folks aren't letting their guard down yet, because we still have a long way to go in this hurricane season. And the Global Tropics Hazards Map that the Climate Prediction Center puts out every, I believe, Tuesday it is. They put out a week 2 and a week 3 outlook. Their week 2 outlook kind of highlighted what I had previously mentioned, those coastal lows kind of in and around Florida and the Atlantic coast. So I don't really want to touch on that because I'm not expecting anything to come from that. Neither is the National Hurricane Center. But their week 3 outlook, so this is valid, this map itself is valid from August 13th to August 19th. So we're going to be in that 2 to 3 week time frame away from where we're at right now. Models are showing just kind of those tropical waves coming off of West Africa, warmer waters down in the eastern and western Caribbean. So that would provide just more energy and more juice to any storms that would want to develop. And again, most models have been pretty consistent with just showing, there's going to be these waves of energy, these tropical waves that come off West Africa, move through that intertropical convergence zone, or the ITCZ, down there in the deep tropics, and then we'll head kind of west-northwest as they look to potentially develop. Now, I will say, at least for the next couple of weeks. Still a lot of dry air in place across the eastern and southern, Caribbean, pretty much from the Lesser Antilles over to Haiti and the Dominican. So that has somewhat limited tropical development, at least in the Atlantic basin so far here this season. But it does look like conditions could become more favorable for some more tropical activity to try and develop, as you get into the middle to latter portions of August. And again, that's typical, right? If you've lived in Florida or anywhere tropical for any extended period of time, this, late August, most of September, that's your most active season. So, just want to remind folks that we still have a long way to go, and we're still approaching kind of that peak time to see, hurricane or tropical activity in the Atlantic basin. So just a quick little tidbit on that for the tropics. Otherwise, here it is. 7-day forecast for you. Again, weather impact alerts for your Saturday and your Sunday. First half of the day tomorrow is going to be very similar to what we've seen here over the last couple of days. It's just going to be incredibly hot, incredibly humid. Then after 2 o'clock, we're going to watch for some of those thunderstorms that are already going to be developing across southeast Georgia to start to slide further southward or build southward. And could be hitting the Jacksonville metro area really anytime between about 3 and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So, of course, storms could be strong to severe. We're going to watch for that 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gust threat, the lightning risk, and, of course, that heavy rainfall. Jacksonville over about the next 2, perhaps even 3 days, could see anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain, whereas areas further northward up towards St. Simon's Island, St. Mary's, Brunswick, over to Folkestone, Nahunta, you folks could be seeing anywhere from about 3 to 4 inches of rain over the next 48 to 72 hours or so. So pretty stormy weekend again for both your Saturday and your Sunday. So just be mindful of that. And then as we head into next week, temperatures are going to rebound a little bit. So are we going to be nearly as hot as we have been? No, thankfully so. Thank the gods for that one there. But yes, we're still going to be quite warm. Low to mid-90s for your afternoon highs. Real field temperatures still going to be close to about that 105-degree mark nearly every single afternoon. But, of course, you might get some heat relief with one of those afternoon showers or storms. Someone's going to be seeing one nearly every single day as you look ahead through most of next week. So just stay safe and stay weather aware out there this weekend. Of course, if we do have any strong to severe storms that will be developing, we will be streaming live on here on First Coast News Plus. Otherwise, enjoy your Friday night and enjoy your weekend, folks. Take care.